Hey, you! Yes, I'm talking to you. Do you doubt yourself? Do you look back on your life experiences in regret or shame? I know you do. Well, do I have news for you, buddy? There's a special little company that has the perfect device just to lift all of your spirits. You'll forget all about losing that spelling bee in 3rd grade.
Iridocyclitis.
Or peeing your pants during prom. No matter how much you screwed up, I know someone who's done worse. Nintendo. You know them. They made Meteos for the DS. They managed to catch lightning in a bottle with the Wii. Those things flew off shelves, struck a beautiful chord with the casual market, I mean, the thing went on to sell over 100 million units, which is really impressive. There's just one really weird quirk.
What? It's just an ordinary Krabby. Oh my goodness!
They designed it like this so the casual market could understand how everything worked. It was a remote, not a video game controller. You didn't press a button to swing a tennis racket, you just swung your arm to swing a tennis racket. But this translated weirdly into more core experiences. And the one that instantly comes to mind is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Fantastic game. And a cool idea and concept. The sword moves in the direction you swing. But the main problem is, the sword moves wherever you swing. You can't translate that any other way. It came out on the Nintendo Switch, but the motion controls are the only playable way to me. Or another Zelda game, Twilight Princess. It was planned to release on the GameCube, but got delayed to be with the release of the Wii with half-baked motion controls, and completely mirrored to coincide it. Yes, the Wii version of Twilight Princess is a mirrored version of the GameCube game, but you already knew that, didn't you? So 2010 comes around, the Wii's still selling like crazy, but with it being released alongside the PS3 and Xbox 360, and still only being 480p, the age was starting to show. Very clearly. Then the rumors began, surrounding a mysterious, quote, Project Cafe, starting in 2008, where the, quote, Wii HD would be a new console with high-definition support and a Blu-ray drive. There's a lot of quotes, but Nintendo heard the fans. The president of Nintendo of America at the time, the legend himself, Reggie,
My body is ready.
stated he was, quote, confident the Wii home entertainment console has a very long life in front of it, end quote. And CEO of Nintendo at the time, the late Satoru Iwata, said at E3 2010 that Nintendo will have a new console when they, quote, run out of ideas with the current hardware and cannot give users any more meaningful surprises with the technology. So imagine everybody's surprise when he comes back a year later with the announcement of another console. But what are they going to name this thing? Wii HD was shot down. What's it going to be? The Wii 2?
Wii U.
The Wii U. And instead of a remote making every game unwieldy, you get to play all your games on a tablet that made using the console unwieldy. And what's the reason for the name? Let's just have Reggie say it.
It's a system we will all enjoy together, but also one that's tailor-made for you.
The pre-release footage showed a lot of the controller and its features, so it led to a huge misunderstanding that the tablet was simply an accessory. This went well with shareholders as Nintendo stock went down by 10%. The Wii U released on September 13th, 2012 in Japan, November 18th in America, and November 30th in European regions in Australia, to a solid library of launch games and Universal Confusion. They did push 3 million units by the end of the year. But what about the Wii? Like, you gotta compare it to its price. Damn, so close! But let's ignore the fact that the Wii U is a heap of disappointment. What about the games? Well, there's your strike too. Third-party support on this thing was abysmal. You barely had any games coming out. And if you did, you had a better experience on Xbox 360. Developers didn't want to work on the Wii U. Ubisoft was planning on Rayman Legends being a Wii U exclusive, but they delayed the game for so long just so it could come out on other platforms at the same time, and nobody bought it. Fantastic game, but it came too late in the Wii U's launch for anybody to care anymore. The f***ing plumber was on the loose. The gimmicks of the console were admittedly pretty enticing. You had a next generation Wii, so you could still use your motion controls, and it also turned into a regular Wii that just worked over HDMI. Your entire Wii catalog was backwards compatible with the Wii U. My main reason for wanting this console so long after its launch was the Virtual Console. It absolutely carried it for 5 years. You could have your Wii U not be a Wii U, but it could be a Super Nintendo, a Game Boy Advance, a Nintendo 64, TurboGrafx 16, or a DS XXXXXXL. But let's talk about the star of the show, the controller. This bad boy has a 6.2-inch 480p display, all the buttons you need, an NFC reader for Amiibo, and a built-in sensor bar. This gamepad is so feature-rich, in fact, I actually forgot to put any money into the battery. It only lasts 3 to 5 hours if you're lucky, so you'll always need your charger nearby. And if I didn't know any better, I'd think it had polio. It is admittedly pretty nice to have your Wii games run entirely on the tablet, or on both if that pleases you. It's surprisingly comfortable, and the screen really isn't that bad. And it works in tandem with the console by basically creating a super specific Wi-Fi network just for that gamepad for it to be super low latency and use H.264 video codec for a less noticeable compression. And it was planned to have 2 gamepads synced at the same time. Unfortunately, this feature was never officially supported due to them believing at that point you'd rather use a 3DS as a controller, and also, it's a stupid idea. Or, you could just use a Wii U Pro controller. It has a better battery, but no motion controls. And what was Nintendo's response to that? Crossbreeding. I know I mentioned games earlier, but I think I didn't give this enough credit. I had to try and record B-roll for this video, and I actually got hooked playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. The titles that came out on here are absolutely impressive. Not impressive enough for them to be re-released on Switch a couple years later for more than what they were released on the Wii U, but impressive nonetheless. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario 3D World, Bayonetta 1 and 2, Splatoon, NES Remix, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. I could go on and on. First party's always going to be amazing with a Nintendo console, unless you're the Virtual Boy. Third party support is what mattered the most. I know I mentioned Rayman, but f*** Ubisoft, let me work here. I think the biggest letdown of the Wii U is the third party games. It's the fact you have this giant ass tablet, and it is not used at all with the majority of the library. It's either a blank screen, a mirror of the screen, or just waiting for you to go off screen and use just the tablet. And the best games on here use both screens. Even Nintendo's guilty of not understanding this. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, like I just said, just shuts the gamepad off if you're not using it. What would you use it for, you're probably asking? I don't know, it's not my job. They're the smart ones, I'm just here to complain. I'd be insane to not bring up the most influential, long-lasting Wii U game to ever come out. A true testament to the passion and willpower that was pursued and so sought after with the entire lifespan of the console. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Mario Kart 8 was an absolute testament to what Nintendo had up their sleeves. The company that always put fun before technological advancements showed they know how to make games. Because this is the last Mario Kart to come out for a f***ing decade. I think about that. I have family members that weren't even alive when this came out. And this is their first Mario Kart. This game is older than the Rizzler. I personally think the best game on the Wii U, forget that. The best Nintendo game to come out in the last 15 years has to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Biased? A little. Is this Switch footage that you're watching right now? Yeah, it is. But as a swan song, they showed what the Wii U was able to do the entire time. A beautiful, massive physics sandbox masked as an open world. They came into a very populated genre, with Red Dead Redemption coming out the next year, you had Horizon Zero Dawn, every game coming out as an open world, and showed the entire industry what they were capable of. I know I've been complaining about the Wii U a lot. I genuinely love having it in my collection. It's such a cute little oddity that is genuinely fun to pick up and play every now and again, and I love getting my quick fix of nostalgia on Nintendo Land. It's basically a showcase of what the Wii U is capable of, and nobody took any notice, not even Nintendo. It was a theme park, with the theming being a few Nintendo franchises, and it has a super fun art style, some genuinely fun and well thought out party games, and I have a lot of nostalgia with this game. I remember my cousin getting the Wii U Christmas of 2012, and I thought it was so cool. We played the Luigi's Mansion game so much. You had a ghost running around with 4 other players trying to catch the ghost without getting caught, and we'd kick the ghost out of the room and just have the people playing as Luigi in there so the ghost wouldn't screen peek. Now, it didn't go on to sell a lot of units. Nintendo ended production of the Wii U around January 31st, 2017, just 2.5 weeks after the Switch was given its release date. During its entire lifetime of only 5 years, it only sold 13 million units. For comparison, the Switch sold over 10 million units by December of 2017. In 9 months, it caught up to what Nintendo was working on for 5 years. And in my opinion, the Wii U was genuinely an overlooked piece of gaming history. That, and it's overshadowed by its predecessor, the Wii, and its successor, the Switch. 2 absolute juggernauts in gaming with the awkward teen phase right in the middle of it. But I think if your expectations are right, you would love this thing as much as I do. Now look, I've been trying to delve into the world of disappointments. I watched The Last Airbender, Batman vs. Superman, the Wonka remake with Timothée Chalamet. I know what a real disappointment is. And so do my parents, evidently. How do you think they remembered my birthday? At least they remembered.